Well, hello everybody. It's been months since I have filmed any sort of video. My life has been crazy, but that's not the important part. I wanted to start basically just like a little update video. We're gonna do a bunch of random stuff talking about books. I just got back from Europe yesterday, which was about 3 weeks away, it was a wonderful trip. I'm really tired though, and today's been crazy. I'm pretty jet lagged. I'm just trying to get life back together and all of that. But I did, because I did move before we left for our trip. We moved. I still have not had the opportunity to visit the local book watering hole, if you know what I mean. We're sitting in the Barnes and Noble parking lot. I thought, what better day than today to do that, because I did want to turn my car on and drive it around a little bit, because it's just been sitting for 3 weeks. And what better place to go than the gas station, I guess, and Barnes and Noble. So that's where we're at. We'll walk around. I want to show you when I get home. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow though. I want to show you books that I bought on my trip in Portugal, because we visited the most beautiful bookstore in the world. I forget what it's called. When we were there, there was some English bookstores, like purely English language bookstores that I found in Lisbon that I want to talk to you about. Yeah, and we're going to Barnes & Noble now, so we'll see what we get. We'll talk about it. And I want to update you on what I've been reading. It's been a long time. So it is the next day. I was really tired when I came home from Barnes & Noble yesterday, very jet lagged. I went to sleep so early last night and woke up so early today. Hopefully things right themselves soon, you know? I'm fading currently. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm, 12:50. And I am fading fast. But as I was saying, in the car yesterday, very briefly, I moved like the week before we left for Spain and Portugal. It was like a 4-day turnaround between when we found this place where we're living now currently and when we had to move. So it was really quick, a mad dash, which was kind of wild. And then we obviously left. So we didn't get to set anything up in here really. So sorry if you hear an echo. We didn't get to set anything up. Nothing is organized. I still don't have all of my bookshelves or anything like that. So yeah, that's kind of the zone that we're in now. This is the second day we're back from our trip. So, and I'm really tired. So I don't think I'm gonna do anything really else today other than read and relax. I went to a new gym this morning because obviously I moved to a completely different place. I used to live in Los Angeles, kind of like that area. And I moved about an hour and a half south. So yeah, completely different area. So I'm trying to like find my rhythm. Where am I gonna go to the gym? I've tried 2 different gyms so far. One the week before we left and then a new one today. You don't care about that. But what you do potentially care about, because this is a book video, let me show you the room that I'm currently in, because it's super cool in this new house, because we lived in a studio apartment together, my boyfriend and I, and then we moved into, now we're living in like a townhome situation, but it's like a house. It's like a freaking house, bro, so I feel like I'm living in a palace. There's so much space. We have a loft, which is like my room now. I have commandeered this room as my library. So it's super exciting. I have so much space for my books. So let me show that to you first. Ooh, I almost fell. You come up the stairs here, and there's like nothing here yet, but this is the loft. Yeah, so very unorganized. There's literally no organization here. Everything's just kind of on the floor. I definitely do not have all my books here. A lot of them are still at my mom's house where I lived before I lived in my last place. I'm gonna try to bring them all here. I got rid of so many books before I moved, like huge bags, several huge bags of books. And I've been kind of regretting that because I'm thinking about some specific books that I got rid of that I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten rid of that, because I was thinking I didn't want to carry everything, because books are a pain in the butt to move. They're a pain in the butt to move. They're so heavy, you know? So I ended up repurchasing one of them so far. Hopefully I will just not repurchase the other ones, because I got rid of things that I've like read before and I didn't like, and I'm like fighting the two sides of me that are fighting with each other are the library builder and why do you need to keep books that you don't like? So they're fighting, you know what I'm saying? But one of the books was a book that I started, read 250 pages of it, didn't finish it, but then I'm like, I'm never gonna read this, and I got rid of it. But that was a mistake, because now I'm like, no, why did I do that? Of course I want to try to reread it. It's a very important book, which I will get to later. But let's talk about the books that I brought with me on my trip. So we're gonna talk about lots of different things right now. Yeah, I brought 5 books. I didn't end up bringing any of the Spain and Portugal books gathered together to read before the trip. I didn't end up bringing any of those with me on the trip because I really got kind of burnt out on them. I didn't finish all of them before I left. There's a small stack left. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 books left from, I don't know how many books are on that list. I was getting kind of burnt out on them. I didn't end up falling in love with any of them. The one that I liked the most was The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I really like Hemingway. I'm really glad that I finally read that, but I still didn't like love anything, which was kind of a bummer. So I needed to move on from that basically on the trip. And I'm glad that I did, because it kind of helped me check out for a little bit while I was there, because otherwise I feel like it would have been too overwhelming for me. But anyway, these were the 5 books that I ended up bringing. So I brought A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, which I started. I am 45 pages into it. I don't love this yet. There's nothing about this that is bringing me into it. I find the writing style to be, and I'm not sure if this was done on purpose, because our main character is a young girl growing up in Brooklyn in like 1912, but she's a young girl and it's a coming of age story. It reads super, like, I guess young. It reads super young. The sentences are super simple to a point where it's just like, it's giving me absolutely nothing. So I'm not into this yet, but I know a lot of people love A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I thought that it would be like a easy peasy, definitely love this kind of a book, but I don't know. I love the cover, so there's that. But I started that. I brought Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut. I love Kurt Vonnegut. I have about 6 books of his left to read. I did not end up starting this or anything, so that was completely untouched. I brought The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which I actually bought right before going on this trip. All these next 3 books I bought before going on them, because I was thinking I wanted something that was probably going to be an easy read, something easy to read on the airport. Something easy to read on the airplanes, that would keep me engaged. So I got The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, because everybody loves The Nightingale. And when I started reading this, I'm like, this is just not a good book. It's just, I'm so sorry if you love this, but this is just not a good book in my opinion for me. I find it to be so saccharine and poorly written. It's just poorly written, but something that reminds me of something that would be popular. As I read on, I did end up liking it at the end. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. But I think that I liked this, or my opinion on it is that I liked it because obviously this story, which is set during World War II, it's about 2 sisters and what they get up to while the men go off and fight in the war, and it's very harrowing, difficult things that they get up to. So of course it's going to be emotive, but I don't think that the writing style and the construction. I just don't think that the writing style did anything. It was really carried on the back of this really heart-wrenching story, like the lives that these people lived. And I just kept thinking about it at the end, like people actually lived through this. That is insane. And it definitely made me cry a little bit. But it's hard to kind of hold that in my mind. Like, am I just feeling this way about the book because the story, the history is very emotive and very emotional? Or is the writing, like, I just didn't think the writing style was very good. So anyways, I gave it 3 stars. I read it. I'm glad I read it. I see why it appeals to a lot of people. I also picked up and read the entirety of Long Bright River by Liz Moore, which I didn't super love this either. I think I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars, so I liked it. It was fine. It's about 2 sisters. I think it's set in Philadelphia. There's like a TV show about this. I think Amy Adams stars in it. So I just kept picturing Amy Adams the whole time, even though I have not seen that TV show. But it's about 2 sisters. We follow pretty much just one of them who's older, and she's a cop, and her younger sister is a drug addict and a prostitute. And there is a serial killer in the area, kind of killing prostitutes or killing young women that live on the streets. And our main character is trying to find her sister basically the whole time, but then we get a lot of backstory about them growing up and their family situation and their relationship to each other, and it gets super complicated as things do. But I felt like I didn't love the main character this book at all. I really did not care for the main character, and it's funny because throughout the book she kept referring to herself as like really intelligent, and how so many people growing up told her that she was special and super smart, and she's so smart, but I'm like, you're not that smart, girl. You're missing so many things in front of you, I think. I just didn't think she was that intelligent, so that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I wish I got to know more about the younger sister, the drug addict and the prostitute, because her story seemed so much more interesting to me, and she seemed like a much more interesting, strong, intelligent character. And so I wish I got more of it from her perspective. Overall, it was fine. I see what people like it, but it just didn't really do anything for me. And then I started and finished on the plane home Flawless by Elsie Silver, because I thought I should have an easy romance book to read on the airplane. That just makes sense to me. This was so bad, but I did read the whole thing. I thought this was so bad. I don't understand, and it's probably my fault, because maybe I just generally, for the most part, don't like contemporary romances. This was so poorly written. Some sentences were so cringy. I was like, okay, that's what that says, moving on. And there were so many different plot points that did not follow through with absolute, like, follow through with themselves, and it jumped around, and it was just so cheesy, but not like in any way that gave you any sort of like gooey ooh feelings, because sometimes things that are cheesy, it's like a good cheesy, you know what I'm saying? This was absolutely not that. This was just so bad in my opinion. It's a contemporary romance. We're following this guy and this girl. The guy is a professional bull rider, and he needs to shape up his public image, and we follow the main female love interest, who is the daughter of his agent, and he's like, yeah, you should just babysit him and help him with his PR and stuff like that. And so she like lives with him for 2 months, but it was bad, okay? None of it made sense. Like, absolutely none of it made sense. Okay, there's that. I actually bought 2 Elsie Silver books because I couldn't decide between Wild Love and Flawless. This one has higher ratings, right? I think this one has higher ratings. No, one of them has higher ratings than the other, but one of them appealed to me more than the other one. I think this one had higher ratings and this one appealed to me more. based off of the synopsis, but now I'm like, I don't want to read this one. Maybe I will someday in the future. I don't know, but that was that. So those are the books that I brought with me on the trip. Let's talk about things that I got while on the trip, and then I'll show you what I picked up at Barnes & Noble yesterday. I'm sorry. So not book related, but in Portugal, we got these beautiful ceramic soap dishes with soap in it. Like the hotel one of the hotels that we stayed at gave this to us. Oh my God, it smells so good. It's absolutely beautiful. Portugal, such a beautiful country. Everyone unfortunately got sick there in my group that I went with. So that kind of unfortunately colored a little bit of the experience slightly negatively. However, it was literally one of the most beautiful countries that I've ever been to, so I was bummed about that. But it happens. I'm just glad everyone's feeling better now. They got antibiotics and we're good. Yeah, there was so much beautiful ceramic tile, hand-painted tiles. It was so gorgeous. I loved looking at the building. So a lot of this blue and this white color, I saw it everywhere. So I'm really glad I have this. I'm putting this in our guest bathroom. So that's super exciting. And then we toured like an old monastery, convent. I think it was a convent or a monastery that got turned into like a castle and is now like in ruins, but like you could go view it, you know. Anyway, they had a gift shop and I picked this up. It was in this town, I think it's a town called Tomar in Portugal. Oh my God, look at how pretty it is. I think it's like handmade, hand painted, and it's like this little jar. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I just loved it, so I bought it. So I'm glad I got that. That's cute. Also in Portugal, in Porto, we went to this super famous bookstore, which I have no idea what it's called, but I've seen pictures of it online everywhere. It's Livraria Lelo. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. The Portuguese language was really difficult for me to read, hear, and pronounce. I think it's because it's kind of written vaguely similarly to Spanish, and being that I grew up in Los Angeles, I hear Spanish everywhere, so it was really hard for my brain, and I'd never really heard Portuguese before, so I'm probably totally pronouncing that wrong considering it's a Portuguese bookstore. But yeah, it's like this famous bookstore that apparently J.K. Rowling based parts of Harry Potter on. So it was absolutely beautiful. I got a few books there. I got this one. I tried to keep it with like the Portugal theme because I thought, wow, while I'm there, why not, you know? I got this book called Philippa of Lancaster, English Princess Queen of Portugal by Isabel Stilwell, which apparently this is like the only English queen of Portugal. And this just sounds interesting. It's a historical fiction about her life, from what I understand, and there's some pictures and images included in there. So I'm excited about this. I've never heard of this before, so I picked that up. And then I picked up, I had to pick these up. These are so beautiful. And I was like in the country. Where else am I gonna pick these up? Where else am I gonna see these, you know? So I got the Anthology of Portuguese Legends, organized by Alexander Parafita. Yeah, so it's legends from Portugal. And I thought that these were such beautiful additions. And then I got Anthology of Portuguese Short Stories. So there's like 11 short stories in this, I guess. Beautiful. And then I got the Anthology of Portuguese Poems. I'm not much of a poetry reader, so I don't know. I debated getting this. I don't know if I'm gonna love it, but I just thought, while when in Rome, you know what I'm saying? I had to get them. So I got those. I also picked up, again, because when in Rome, you know, this beautiful edition which is unique to the bookstore, of the Lusiads by I cannot pronounce this guy's name, and I asked our guide, because we were in a tour group, I asked our guide how to pronounce his name so many times, and I can pronounce the last name. It's Camões, Luis de Camões, I think is how you say it, but the Lusiads, I almost bought this when I did all my research before going on the trip, when I was gathering all my Portugal and Spain books. This was like one of the first things that popped up, and it's supposed to be akin to the Iliad and Odyssey, but for Portugal. So it's an epic poem. That's what put me off actually from buying it before, because the language seemed very difficult. But again, I thought while I'm there, it's a beautiful edition, and I feel like this is culturally super important to the country of Portugal, and our guide said, yeah, everyone has to read that in school. So anyways, I picked it up. And then kind of the outlier is I picked up Romeo and Juliet in this pretty edition. Why? I don't know. We had credits with the group that we were with. We each got to pick out something from this edition, because again, it was original to the bookshop, or unique to that bookshop, and we each got one for free, basically. And so I used my free card on this one, and my boyfriend, who's not a reader, wasn't going to use this. I'm like, can you use it on me, please? Like, please. So he got me Romeo and Juliet, which I thought was funny and appropriate. I thought I should get a Shakespeare, and I saw it, and we were leaving, and I'm like, I'll get Romeo and Juliet. So I did, and I'm happy they're in English. I was excited about that. So that is that. And then in Lisbon, we visited a bookstore called Salted Books, just randomly one afternoon when my boyfriend and I had free time. And it was an all English bookstore, which thrilled me. So everything's in the UK editions, which just absolutely made me so excited, because I live in the United States. So I get the US editions primarily. Obviously now that Book Depository, years after its demise, I used to order from Book Depository all the time. Yeah, so let me show you what I got from that bookstore, because I just could not. I would have gotten more if I saw more that I wanted, but I couldn't hold myself back. I got The Vegetarian by Han Kang, which, look at this edition, it's so beautiful. I've had my eye on this for years, finally picked it up. I also picked up Clear by Karis Davies, which is set in 1843, and it's about the sole occupant of a remote Scottish island. And I think someone comes onto the island and they have like some sort of bond. Something happens between the two people on this remote Scottish island. Heard nothing but good things about that. That came out a couple of years ago, I don't remember. And then I saw this, Nancy Mitford's The Pursuit of Love. I love these editions. I've always kind of wanted one, but I have never seen them in US bookstores. So I saw it in that bookstore and I said, I'm gonna get it. So this is a classic about, I think, young women talking about getting married. And that's, I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but that's what I think it's about. And then I picked up Michael Ondaatje's The English Patient, because I saw it and it appealed to me and I got it, you know? The final curtain is closing on the Second World War. In an abandoned Italian village, Hannah, a nurse, tends to her sole remaining patient. Rescued from a burning plane, the anonymous Englishman is damaged beyond recognition and haunted by painful memories. The only clue Hannah has to unlocking his past is the one thing he clung on to through the fire, a copy of the Histories by Herodotus, covered in handwritten notes detailing a tragic love affair. So that sounds super interesting. I picked up A Single Man by Christopher Isherwood. I've wanted to read this for so many years, and I've wanted this specific edition. That's why I didn't buy it in like Barnes & Noble or something, because I wanted this edition. After seeing the movie, forget the name of the actor that starred in it, but such a good movie. I'm so excited to read this book. It's about a man who's very depressed after his partner died. And this is, I think, written and set in, what is it, the 50s? I don't know, mid 20th century. Yeah, maybe early 20th century, mid 20th century. not sure. So excited about that. I also picked up Natalia Ginzburg's Valentino because I really like this edition. And have I read something by Natalia Ginzburg? I own something by Natalia Ginzburg. I had to get this edition. I don't really know what this is about. Valentino is a spoiled child of doting parents. Oh, and they think he's gonna be like some really important dude, but then he marries someone they do not want him to marry, and they're like confused. That's what I got. I also picked up this book by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie called Notes on Grief because I saw it there. I think it's pretty. And I was that day thinking about grief a lot for specific reasons. And I saw it there and I'm like, it was a last minute purchase. It was sitting right by the counter. That's why I picked it up. I also picked up these postcards, which are so pretty. I picked these up from the Naval Museum in Lisbon. So I want to frame these and put those up because I just think they're really pretty. So we'll talk about the books that I got at Barnes & Noble yesterday, but I forgot I also made an order on Amazon, and I want to show you the books that I got off of Amazon. Because yes, I bought more books. Okay, but at Barnes & Noble, I got these books here. So I picked up this short story collection by Guy de Maupassant called A Parisian Affair and Other Stories. Wow, that was hard for me to say. I started reading this book yesterday morning by Harold Bloom. I started to read How to Read and Why, and I am loving this. He's basically just writing essays on different books that he's read, and the beginning is the short story section. So I am loving this so much, and he has different sections on specific authors. He did a section on Chekhov, so I've been reading yesterday and today some Chekhov short stories. I already own these, by the way, but they're sitting right next to me, so I thought I'd show them to you. So Chekhov and then Chekhov plays, so that's that. But he did do a section on Guy de Maupassant, so I thought, let me buy some of his short stories. And this one does contain some of the specific stories that he was talking about that he wrote. So two of them in particular, The Necklace, and I forget what the other one is, The Orla and The Necklace. So that's why I picked that up. I'm really enjoying short stories right now. Well, at least Chekhov. I'm enjoying Chekhov a lot. So that's that. I also, because of that Harold Bloom book, picked up the short stories of Vladimir Nabokov because there's a section on his stories. So this is a huge collection. I believe he only talks about like 2 of his stories, but I'm happy to have them. I'm excited about this little reading project that I've spontaneously decided to do. We'll see how far I follow through with it for, but there you go. And then I also picked up The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde because I've wanted this for a long time. And I thought, I'm gonna read some Chekhov plays and let's read some Oscar Wilde plays. Let's read The Importance of Being Earnest. So I'm excited about that. I also picked up, because of the Harold Bloom book, this collection by Jorge Luis Borges called The Book of Sand and Shakespeare's Memory. I'm not sure if I have the entire collection of Borges's stories. If I do, they're at my mom's house, and I think I might have gotten rid of them a couple years ago because I thought, I'm not gonna read these anytime soon because I was in the mood where I was like not into short stories. Keep your books, guys. Keep your books. Unless you read it and you hate it. Keep your books, okay? So I'll have to check my mom's house to see if I still have that. But otherwise, I picked this up. This doesn't even have the short stories that he was referencing in that book. But I just thought this is such a cute little addition. And I do really want to read Shakespeare's Memory by Borges. So that's why I got it. And I almost didn't buy this. I brought it up to the register and I told the woman working there, I'm not going to get this. Thank you so much. I just didn't want to set it somewhere random because I'd been walking around with it for a while. And she said, if I make it half off, will you buy it? I'm like, yes, I will. So I couldn't say no to that. You know what I mean? I couldn't say no to that. So I got it. And then I picked up Germinal by Emile Zola because I'm for some reason on a French kick. I want to read more French literature. I think I really like it. And I think I want to read the entire series, and I'm forgetting the name of the series, by Emile Zola. I read what is it called? Lady's Paradise last year, and I really liked it. I have Nana from his collection, or from his series that I really want to read. It's a series of like 22 books, and you can read them like as standalones if you want, but it's supposed to paint a portrait basically of Paris, or of France at the time. I don't know if it's just Paris or France, but I thought that sounded super interesting. So Germinal is super famous. I've heard about this for a long time. And it's supposed to be about following Etienne, an unemployed railway worker who's a clever but uneducated young man with a dangerous temper. He takes a backbreaking job at a mine. He can't get other work. He discovers his fellow miners are ill, hungry, and in debt, unable to feed and clothe their families. When conditions in the mining community deteriorate even further, he finds himself leading a strike that could mean starvation or salvation for all. Sounds interesting. It's kind of reminding me of North and South for some reason by Elizabeth Gaskell, but like not really. More gritty than that. So anyways, that's Germinal. And then, so that's what I got at Barnes & Noble yesterday. And then books that I ordered on Amazon, actually. Yeah, let's talk about those. So again, Emile Zola. I picked up the Assommoir, which I was instructed by one of you lovely folk to pick this up if I was going to read Nana or Nana by Zola, because this precedes that in story. So this book follows Nana's mother, who is an alcoholic and I believe a prostitute. She's an alcoholic, trapped in a vicious web of wanton neglect. I'm not sure. So I picked that up because of what I just said. I want to read the Zola series. Then I picked up a couple of other fun classics that have always just been on my list, and I don't know, I just went for it. So we have Denis Diderot's The Nun. And I picked this up because I was touring all these different convents and monasteries and convents and churches, and this book is about this young woman whose parents sent her to live in a convent, and she does not want to go. And it's about the repression and what it's like living there. So that's why I bought this, because I was touring all these convents. I'm like, I have to pick up The Nun finally. Of course I do. So I got that. I also got The Epic of Gilgamesh because I read There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak earlier this year, and I really liked it, and that book's kind of all about the Epic of Gilgamesh, and I guess I'm on this like classics kick, and there was a gap for this in my library, so I got it, and it's short, you know? I also picked up Confucius, the Analects, because I saw this pop up on a lot of lists, like study lists for people getting English degrees, or not even English degrees, but literature degrees, comparative literature degrees, and I like to get nerdy like that, so I picked that up. That's why I got that. I also picked up, because I've been wanting this for a long time, and I thought, you know, I'm not gonna get it. I'll just read the original text. I don't need something else to read. That'll make sense in a second. So I've been wanting this for a long time, but then I thought, no, I shouldn't get it. It's not necessary. But then with my whole reading Harold Bloom and being interested in what people study for literature degrees, I thought this will be super helpful to me, being someone who's reading on my own without a guide, on kind of where to start and give me more textual and historical background, potentially, for lots of works of classical literature. So I picked up Classical Literary Criticism in this Penguin Classics edition, and I think it's just supposed to be writings about lots of different important classical literary works. So I'm excited about that, and I love that it's not too long, and I love those Penguin Classics editions anyway, so there you go. Last but not least, and I'm excited, I need to lay down, I'm so tired. The book that I mentioned that I got rid of, I read 250 pages of it, and I regret getting rid of it now because I want to read it again, or I want to try it again at some point in my life. And I have so much room here to store books anyway, so might as well. And it was like $9, which is still money for sure, but I thought at least it's not like 15 bucks or 12 bucks, you know, it's under 10. So I could justify it. I picked up Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. I was in Spain, bro, and people actually, a couple of the guides actually totally referenced Don Quixote a couple of times, and I thought, I'm such a failure that I didn't stick with it. And the reason that I didn't stick with it was because it wasn't really doing much for me, so I'm hoping it does potentially on the second go around, who knows? But it was so episodic, and it was just these guys being like goofy, and I just felt like there wasn't enough philosophy to it for me that I wanted there to be. But, which makes me sound so pretentious, but it is what it is. I like reading stuff like that, and so that's why I stopped reading it. I thought, life's too short, this is such a long book. But now I'm like, but it's an important book. So, anyways, I got it again, and I got this Oxford World Classics edition, and I'm upset because the edition I had before was this beautiful Penguin Classics edition with the orange penguin, but now I cannot find books with the orange penguin easily anymore, and because this is such a widely read and printed book, it's going to be really hard to find the orange penguin, and I do not accept the white penguin. I don't like the white penguins. So that's why I got the Oxford World Classics edition, because I like these pretty much almost equally as these editions, just for aesthetic purpose. I don't know. I just think they're pretty, you know? Don Quixote is also referenced. I saw in a section at the end of this, so I was like, I got it, I just gotta get it. So yeah, that is my little reading update. I know I still haven't updated you, or I never ended up updating you on Woman's Prize related books. I filmed a reaction video to the shortlist, and then I just thought, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it anymore. For some reason, I don't know, I think my initial reaction was that I didn't like the shortlist, but I don't know why, because two of my favorite books that I read from the long list were on it, The Safe Keep and All Fours, and then The Safe Keep ended up winning, which makes me really happy because I would have been rooting for The Safe Keep to win, absolutely, out of the list of the short list. So I'm really happy with the way that all worked out. All good. But then I thought, I don't know, time kept going on, and my life was so insanely busy, and then we moved and we're going on a trip. So I never ended up updating you on that, but here's my update. There you go, if you care. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Please let me know what you guys are reading. It's been a long time. I hope you are all doing very well and enjoying the start to your summers. Hope to check back in again soon. And yeah, thanks for watching again.